pregame.com.
Back pregame.tv, we got the A team, but we did not do our A work last week. It's bounce back Tuesday here, and hopefully we can pick some winners here. We're going to start with a couple of NBA games, and I'm here with Vegas runner Bryan Leonard. Probably not by coincidence. You're looking for the best bet or one of the better bets on the board with the free play here. And of course, you naturally went to, is this a typo? Orlando at Charlotte.
For anybody who says we just throw these videos up here, we're actually trying to win. We could have been talking about any of these NCAA games,
of course,
any primetime action. But in reality, this is a game I really like. This game here, you got an Orlando team. They've dropped 2 straight games to the Charlotte Bobcats. I think they're the only team this year that has lost twice to the Charlotte Bobcats. If they lose this one, they will lose the season series 3 out of 4 to the Charlotte Bobcats. They come into this game, they've lost 7 straight games. They obviously want to win this game. If they lose this game, they'll only have 1 half-game lead over Charlotte for the worst record in the league. Despite what people say about the ping pong balls and all that, nobody wants to finish the season with the worst record in the league. You got a Charlotte team's playing better ball as of late, but I think Orlando plus the points is the way to go in this one.
Well, now I'm going to agree with you, but I'm going to disagree with you. I think people wanted to lose real bad when they could get Tim Duncan or they could get the Admiral as their #1 pick in the draft.
I think the fans
did,
and the owners, GMs, I think they got their fingers crossed. But the players, you think?
I think the players ultimately are a victim of the rotations that are put forth by the coach who speaks with the owners beforehand. But I do think in a very weak draft where there's no clear-cut #1, the ping pong ball conspiracy theory goes completely away because all you got to do now is pay a guy even more money for being some overrated kid right out of basically high school with a 1 year of college can't play a lick. So I don't think that there's that incentive. So I do think that there's a bounce back. One thing I'm concerned about. And I did have a loser. I had Orlando against Miami. Orlando always brings it big time against Miami. They lost by a point and 2 points before they lost to 14. Really turned out to be a coin flip last night against Miami. But that's the game that Orlando always points to. Little brother in the state of Florida. A lot going on in the state of Florida. We'll talk about another.
For sure.
2 more teams in Florida in the college ranks. But so I wonder with that spot. I know they were up for the Miami game, and they played very well for a lot of the game. Could this not be a soft spot for them playing Charlotte then? I
don't think if you're a team that's only won as many games as Orlando's won all year long, has lost 7 straight games, that it's a game like that. And, Miami had a, 22-point lead in the fourth quarter. Orlando didn't quit. They came back.
Only 20. I watched it very close. VR, let me ask you, let's get into the minds here of Charlotte. They stink all year long.
Terrible.
Awful. Not actually.
Both teams, though, you got to combine 34 wins between them. I mean, you look at San Antonio, what do they have, like 50-something? Miami has 50-something wins, and Oklahoma City has 50-something wins. These two combined for 34.
But Charlotte was like 7-6, and then they were horrible. A high school team for like 3 months. I called them a high school team. But they're actually, the last 4 games, they played pretty good ball.
Right.
Are they like out in the strip clubs right now? Are they like doing bottle service and like just celebrating finally winning a couple games?
I think because they're young, no. You know what I mean? I think if they were older veterans, absolutely. But I think because they're young, that's not the case. But when you look at Charlotte, they have names on that team that in the future, if they could keep all these guys, they're #1 draft picks more or less. You got Gilchrist. You got Kemba Walker, you got Henderson, you got Gordon, but this could be a
they could win the tournament.
They could be, yeah, pretty much. But I mean, when you compare them to the Orlando lineup, it's Orlando. I don't see any talent, but statistically, Orlando is the much better team, even though they're only 2 games better than Charlotte. I mean, if you just look at field goal percentage that both teams shoot and what they allow, Orlando's not that bad. They're 23rd in the NBA offensively, 13th in the NBA defensively in field goal percentage. But when you look at Charlotte, every single category, they're either 29th or 30th. I mean, this is just a bad team. I agree with Bryan. I think the motivation not to lose 3 times and get swept by Charlotte is enough for me to back
motivation not to suck against the very worst team. Bryan can't wait to make this official. One thing when you go ahead and release this, let me know, is there any home field advantage in this game?
We will talk about that right here.
Excellent. Let's make it official.
Yeah, Steve hit on one of the points. Orlando has won 8 games on the road this year, and Charlotte has won 10 games at home. So you've got two teams here. The road team is played far better on the road than the home team did. Not much home field advantage here at all. And you've got Charlotte 10-24 this season when they played a team off of a loss. I mentioned before that Orlando's lost 7 straight games. And you also have the Bobcats. I went back this year. Believe it or not, the Bobcats have been favored 7 times this year. They failed to cover 6 out of those 7 games. This is not a team you want to lay points with. Line opened 4.5, got quickly bet down to 3.5. I expect this line to probably close in the 3 range. I'll take Orlando, and I really think they're going to win this game straight up.
Boy, you talk about bulletin board material. I would break out my USA Today in the locker room and say, guys, we are so awful that we are a 4-point underdog to the Charlotte Bobcats. Show some pride.
I agree.
I think logic is impeccable. So thanks for staying with us for that discussion of drag game in the NBA. We're going to talk about a good one. Stay with us. Pregame.tv. We'll be breaking down. Got Indiana at Houston, and we'll be right back with the analysis on that. Brian has a free play on that game.